Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Gabby and welcome to episode 7. I have 2 very exciting finished objects for you this week, one of which I am wearing. And we'll just follow a typical podcast format where we'll talk about my finished objects, my works in progress, some future plans, and some acquisitions I've acquired as well. So let's just go ahead and jump into it. Let's talk about what I'm wearing. My first finished object is my Weekender by Andrea Mowry. This is the second one I've made because I loved my green one so much that I had to have another. And so I pretty much just copied it exactly, but let's talk about the details. So I have made the size 3. I knit the ribbing on 4mm and the body on 4.5mm needles. And I knit this in Barocco Remix in the color Strawberry. Now, as you know, I am a huge Barocco Remix fan. And once again, making another garment in this, I have to say, it's definitely one of my favorite yarns that I have ever worked with. Now, the knitting experience can be a little bit difficult on my hands because the content is basically every other fiber but wool. It's a nice combination of recycled fibers. So it's a little bit tough on my hands when working with it, but it's so worth it in terms of a finished garment because I can literally wear this next to skin and have no problems at all. And that's huge for me. I'm very, very sensitive. So you've heard me talk about this many times, but you know I'm a huge fan of Remix. And it stands again in this garment as well. But let's talk about the modifications I've made. So the pattern calls for a tubular cast on, but I just did a long tail cast on. I knit the body to 10 inches from the underarm, including the length of the back ribbing. The pattern calls for it to be a lot longer, but I prefer more of a cropped length. I knit the sleeve depth to size 4 because it looks like in the pattern the sleeves are a bit tighter and I'm not a huge fan of that. So I just sized up and it's literally perfect. Considering that as well, I did less decreases throughout the sleeve. So I only did 7 decreases every 15 rows, and I think that's completely perfect. And on my green version, I did 12 rows on the cuff ribbing, and on this one, I just did 10 rows. It's not that much of a difference. Not really sure why I did that, but I think it sits at a nice length for me. I don't really love when my sleeves are way up into my hand, so this is perfect. And yeah, I'm really happy with it. I love the color of this. All the remix colors that I have used have this really tweedy mix of colors. And this one has little specks of red. And there's some almost, it kind of looks like little linen-y fibers, but it just adds some really nice texture to the garment. I really love that you knit the body in reverse stockinette. Then you have this slip stitch detail in the middle. And then the arms are knit in just straight stockinette. I really love the mix of textures on this one. And of course the shoulder seam. I mean, just so many great details. And I do love my 2 versions so much, but I'm not sure that I need another one at this point, so I think I'll be happy with just 2 Weekenders. That is my sweater finished object for this week. Love it. And next, let's talk about, I have a finished leather bag. What? How cutie? Oh my goodness. How cute is that? I love the basket detail on this. And yeah, I hand stitched this. Can you believe? So Babylon Leather reached out to me and asked me if I would be interested in trying out one of their DIY bag kits. And of course I said yes. I find leather making so interesting and I love that they include everything that you need to make this. I was looking through their website and it was kind of hard to pick which one I wanted to make because they have a lot of really cute kits. But I ended up picking their top grain leather woven bag kit. And this is in the color caramel and I picked the matching thread option for this one. They have 2 other colorways on this. One is blue and one is a light and dark blue checkered kind of look, which is way cute. And if they had black and white, I totally would have chosen that one. But I think the warm tone leather looks really nice. It's giving basket and I just love that. So I had the intention of using this as a project bag and it is so perfect for that. So they asked me to talk about my experience and overall it was really great. There was a slight learning curve, I will say, just because I'm not used to using a thread and needle, right? It's so small and you have to really put a lot of tension on the thread because you have to have a lot of tension in order to assemble the bag, right? But the kit comes with everything you need, including the pre-cut leather pieces, the hardware, any straps, thread, and a toolkit. So you don't need anything except for a lighter for when you're finishing off your threads. They say that this will take an afternoon to complete, and that's probably true, except for me, it took me 2 days to make it because I have a teething 6-month-old, so everything is just a little bit slower. I also had to undo the stitching the first time. I had a slight failed attempt. It comes with a video tutorial, and there's some verbal instruction and there's some visual instruction, and I missed the visual instruction, and so I was not stitching in the right order, and so I had to unpick it, and then I just sat on it for that night, started again the next day, and then had no issues after that slight learning curve. It was such a cool sensory experience because the leather feels so nice. It feels very high quality. It smells really good too, which is probably my favorite part. Overall, I had a great experience, and I would definitely make another one of their kits. And if you're interested in giving this a try or checking out any of their other DIY kits, I'll have my affiliate link in the description, and I also have a coupon code, which is Gabby10, which will get you 10% off of your purchase. And what's very exciting is it is stackable with their welcome offer if it's your first time ordering through them. The welcome offer is 20%, and you can use my 10% code on top of that to get you 30% off of your purchase. So I highly recommend checking out all of their kits. The smaller kits would be great for Christmas gifts, and it's just nice to have a little palette cleanser in between projects, and then you get this really beautiful end result. Very excited to use this as a project bag in the future. It is currently housing one of my whips right now, so yeah, very exciting. Thank you to Babylon Leather for gifting me this DIY kit. I had so much fun with it. And so that leads us into the whips I would like to talk about today. We'll talk about the first big boy. I've made a lot of progress on my Olga jacket by Petite Knit. It's hard to show, but basically I have finished all of it except for the sleeves. Looking so good. I'm obsessed with this color. So pretty. Yeah. So let's talk the details. So I'm knitting the size medium, and I knit the ribbing with 4mm and the body in 4.5mm needles. I'm knitting this in Brooklyn Tweed Shelter in the color Plume, which is the purple, and Wool Socks, which is the rusty red, and it is looking so good. I spent all day doing all the rib finishes. I was surprised it took me so long, but I did do the 2 rows of double knitting and the Italian bind off, and it just looks so good. And now that that's on, I'm kind of considering what buttons I want to use. I was thinking maybe like some kind of wood buttons. I'm thinking maybe walnut buttons would look really nice. But let's talk the details. So this pattern calls for a DK weight yarn, and Shelter is a worsted weight. Now I do hit stitch gauge, but my row gauge is off. So when I finished the back trapezoid, it measured to be an extra large instead of a medium. I just decided to roll with it because I find that the Olga sweater sleeve depth is a little bit narrow. So I figured it would be fine that I was up 2 sizes. So I knit the shoulders to be the length of an extra large so that they match front and back. Now the ribbing is all knit to pattern. My buttonholes have 15 rows in between them, which will allow for 6 buttons on this. I wasn't sure how much this yarn was going to grow, so I decided to block it before I finished off the body. And honestly, it didn't really grow at all, but the yarn bloomed so nicely. It's gotten a lot softer and it has a lot more drape to it. So I'm really excited for this to be finished, but I ended up just adding 2 more rows of stripes and then just went straight into the ribbing, and the length I think is going to be so perfect. But yeah, so all I have to do is just chuck along on the sleeves, then she'll be done. And I'm so excited for this finished object because this will be so perfect for the colder months. And even though this yarn is a little bit more on the rustic side, I think it's going to be perfect because it's going to be a layering piece, and I just love the colors, and I'm just really excited to have this in my wardrobe. So the next whips we have to talk about are my 2 jaunty shawls by Andrea Mowry. This is a beautiful half fisherman's rib shawl where you increase to a point and then begin your decreases. So I'll show you the one I'm making for myself. She's getting so large, let me tell you. I'm knitting this one in Louisa Harding Tula Tweed in the color 101 Monroe, and I'm using 5.5mm needles for this. Let me just show you how large she's getting. It's starting to scrunch on my needles. It's getting so big, but look how beautiful that is. Stunning. It's so hard to show you. I'm loving the color gradient on this though. It's looking so pretty. It's got gray and like a pinky oatmeal, and you can tell that it's getting quite big because the stripes are a lot skinnier on here, but I still have quite a bit left on my ball of yarn too. So my plan was to just go through this one and keep increasing until this runs out and then use my second ball and decrease with that one. But girl, this is going to be huge. And I know that this pattern grows with blocking as well. So I'm very excited to have a very large and squishy scarf. She's so cutie. And so my next whip is being held in my beautiful Babylon leather bag. And this is the jaunty shawl I'm making for my mother. So mom, if you're watching, do not look at this, okay? I know you're so bad with surprises, but I'm telling you now, don't look. So I'm knitting this one in Knitting for Olive Merino in the color Wheat, and there's soft silk mohair in the color Trench Coat. And it is looking so beautiful. Such a nice, like drapey, fluffy fabric. It's really nice. We're chucking along on her too. I'm knitting this on 3.5mm needles, so it's a bit slower. This is just nice to break up all like the worsted weight yarns that I've been working on. And yeah, I'm just really excited to gift this to my mom because I think she's gonna love it. And then my last whip I have to talk about is something I might have to frog, so let's talk about it. This is a hipster hat by Petite Knit. And okay, here's the deal. This was just like a cast on I didn't really think about. I was kind of aiming for the smallest size because I plan to make this for my daughter Rowan. So I won't say the number that the smallest size recommends to cast on for, but I cast on 92 because this is a worsted weight yarn. It's Universal Yarn Deluxe Worsted Superwash in the color 751 Pomegranate Heather. This was thrifted by my boyfriend's sister and she gifted it to me. So I'm knitting this with a 3.75mm needle. And since it's worsted weight, I was like, okay, I'll cast on less stitches because the stitch gauge is totally different with that. And then I was writing down my notes last night to talk about this today, and I was like, wait, since the numbers are off, the decreases aren't going to line up correctly, right? So it is a multiple of 4 at least. So it matches in terms of 2x2 rib, but the decreases are aligned in a certain way so they meet up with one central column. And since my stitch count is off, I don't think that's going to match up. But does it really matter? I don't know. So I might have to frog it, which is fine. I can just cast on the correct amount of stitches for the smallest size and call it a day. But yeah, let me know what you think about that, if that's going to be an issue, because I think it's going to be, but whatever, it's fine. I wasn't really planning this cast on anyways, so it's not that upsetting that I might have to frog it. Sometimes it's just like that. Okay, so let's talk about my future plans. And in terms of immediate future plans, I will be casting on the Pelica vest by Rosa Pomar this weekend because the knit along that Capron Cottage is hosting starts on November 15th, and I am so excited. Let me show you the swatch I made. I did block it and I hit gauge. So here's my beautiful swatch. Oh my gosh, the color is so pretty and the little Tweedy bits are so nice. So I'll be knitting this in Meridian Millhouse Shanico? Let me know what the correct pronunciation is. I'm knitting it in their Shanico Tweed in the color Burnt Orange. And I knit my swatch on 4.5mm needles and I hit gauge perfectly, so that's very exciting. So stay tuned for the Pelica vest being a whip in my next video. So let me know if you're planning on joining the knit along so we can all look cute in our little vests together. And another future plan I'm considering is to use up the Knitting for Olive Heavy Merino in the color Rust that I have in stash because I frogged my Stornoway sweater. I've been looking through Ravelry to try to figure out what I want to do with it, and at first I was considering the Dad sweater by Emily Curtis, but upon further investigation, I think I would rather have a textured sweater because I have a lot of just simple stockinette sweaters, so I think we need to vamp it up a little bit. And the only textured finished garment I have now is my Lana vest, so I would love some kind of cable-y textured sweater. So I have about 1,100 meters of this yarn. So I put all of my specs in my Ravelry search, and I currently have 3 options. So let me know what you think. First, I was considering the Book Club pullover because everyone knits the cardigan. I think the center diamond motif is just really pretty. In turn, I also have enough yarn for the Book Club cardigan, which is popular for a reason. It's absolutely beautiful. And I do need more cardigans in my wardrobe, so I'm kind of considering that. And then I also came across the Stag Head pullover, which I have seen before, but I had never really considered it because I didn't realize it was knit in worsted weight yarn. Oh my god, is that such a beautiful sweater? I feel like that sweater resonates with me a lot more than the book club sweater or cardigan. I'm kind of leaning towards that, but I haven't fully decided yet because I'm still kind of considering, I'm still trying to keep it open that there's other options as well, but that is pretty heavy on my mind right now. But also just thinking like I want to make the Pelica vest. I also purchased yarn for the Nordic Plume vest, which I'll probably make next. And then now I'm considering another sweater with my heavy merino. So I'm gonna leave this kind of open, but the thought is there. Let me know if you have made the stag head pullover before, and if you have any advice, and if you think it's a good pattern. I would appreciate any insight on that. So those are my future plans. We'll see what ends up happening. Okay, and last but not least, we have an acquisition, which I'm also very excited about, because Junction Fiber Mill announced that they are going to be having their surprise bags available for sale. And so they have a sport weight version and a DK version. I went for the DK weight version. So that one comes with at least 200 grams of DK weight yarn, and it could be any mix of 200 grams. So it could be smaller skeins, it could be skeins that have discrepancies, multiple knots, one-off colors. And so you can purchase the surprise bag at a discount for I think about 10%. And so I've been wanting to try Junction Fiber Mill for ever. I love their color changing yarns. So I figured this would be a perfect opportunity to do so because it comes with a cute project bag and then you get 2 surprise skeins. And that's kind of the hardest part of it all, is like trying to pick which color. So it's so nice that they just do it for you. Okay, let me stop talking about it and let me just show you. Here's the cutie bag. It says, if you knit, you know, which is adorable. Okay, are you ready for this? And here are the 2 skeins that I got. Oh, I mean, can you just die about that? This could not have been a better choice for me, honestly. It's like they know me so well. So the yarn did not come labeled. And so I emailed them just to confirm what the colorway was. And it turns out that it is the colorway Smuggler's Notch, which is their exclusive colorway that they made for the Vermont Sheep and Wool Festival, which is so cool. So I'm really excited to have this in my arsenal. And now I'm like, what do I make with it, right? Immediately my mind goes to like, oh my God, I need a jaunty shawl. But I'm like already making myself one. But now I'm like, do I just gift that one and then make this one for me? Because I think that would look so pretty in a color changing yarn. And given that the 2 skeins are a little bit different, it would be cool to have one side that's a little more blue and then the other side that's a little bit more orange. Or do I use it for color work? Because that would look really beautiful. But then since the 2 skeins are so different, I worry that if I have to dip into the second skein, that the color work will have a pretty harsh line. So I don't know. I'm gonna ponder this, but I am so excited about having this. And even though it's a woolly yarn, you know I'm sensitive, I will say it does feel pretty soft, and I can imagine that this softens up a lot with blocking. It does make me a little bit hesitant in terms of like making a scarf or a shawl with this, since it will be next to my neck. And then also it makes me a little hesitant to use it for color work because it will sit like in my chest area, right? So I don't know. Let me know your thoughts if you have any. I was also considering, I think it's the Nightlight shawl by Andrea Mowry, because it has 2 different colors that you use, like in stripes, which might help blend the 2 skeins together. I don't know. But yeah, like I said, considering options. So let me know if you have any suggestions for that. So yeah, that pretty much concludes everything I have to talk about today. It feels like a lot, but at the same time it doesn't feel like a lot. I've just like so been in my own little bubble with a teething 6-month-old that time is irrelevant to me. So like when I'm going through my day-to-day, I'm like, wow, I have so much to work on. But then when I sit down and talk about it, it's like, oh yeah, you know, it's not really that bad. But I say that, and then I'm going to be casting on another vest, so that's not going to help. And then also I do really need to get a work on my step-by-step sweater for my boyfriend Tyler, because I want to gift that to him for Christmas, so I need to get a go on that. So I have some work to do, let's just say that. But I've also noticed that we are slowly inching towards 5,000 subscribers here on YouTube, which I am so excited about. So I was kind of thinking maybe we can do a little giveaway when we hit 5K. And I was thinking maybe about gifting a Ravelry pattern of your choice. So make sure that you're subscribed and keep an eye out for that in the future. And also, if you want to keep up with what I'm doing in between videos, you can find me on Instagram at handmadebygib, or you can find me on Ravelry at emo_granola_girl. I would love to be friends. And yeah, I guess that's everything. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you being here, and I hope to see you in my next video.